I will see if there's any spirits here. That rolls at 7. Let's see if there are. No, that's stage 1. So yeah, we're back. Sulphur Springs. This is season 2. And yeah, the original chat, and I am going to mention this, the same thing that I'm going to do with Alien. I was just trying to be like, should I combine it? And that was with The Simpsons. The Simpsons had a thing. I've remodeled everything. A lot has changed since the last one. I had so many different things working on each other, and I was about to do this thing where I'm like, Simpson. And I realised that was stupid. So I just have one now. That's on shows I need to wait, where it's basically Simpsons, Disney Plus, and it's one episode. And then I do have 10 11, 12, blah, 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 but that's near the bottom. So yeah. But again, this is just a sort of show that I watch. Again, I just like this. I find this really entertaining. And I really enjoy this. I am annoyed at season 3 because season 4 wasn't going to happen. And what season 3 left on, yes, it left on a twist, but I can't mention that here because that's not important. The one thing I like in this one is that they have this whole thing about sort of, because the last one dealt with like, oh, this person went disappearing, this is about it. This one was about a sort of like dispute. Okay, so we have a picture of you in the past. Why? Learning about it and learning about certain things. And the spoiler section is going to be huge, but learning about what's going on, how this happened, is so interesting. It definitely leads into what happens in season 3 a lot more. Like, I feel like you can't, like, you can somewhat understand season 2 if you forgot certain parts of season 1. But I feel like season 2, I know that sounds stupid, but like season 1 is about one story. Season 2 and 3 are sort of about one thing, even though there is a major change, and I like it. I love that change. I think it's really interesting. Actually, let's talk about that now. Back for 3 to 1. One of the major spoilers was the fact. So what happened was, in the past, this family owned this farm and the house, which is where the sort of like hotel is, the Tripton Hotel. But the sort of like one person, their sort of like one of the ancestry's mother, great grandmother, I think, I don't know how many greats it was, died, and because of this lawyer who did this sleazy trick about it and tried to work around, it meant that because the original plan was to sell the farmland, but keep the house. But because of what they did, they worked around it, and it's like, oh no, now I own the land, leave. And at a certain point, it's, well, if you know the time period, it's so effed up that he got away with this, and he manipulated people to be like, oh yeah, this happened. And it is so, like, inhumane and so dark, and I love it because of that. I also like the fact that, like, so many things are being messed up because you have the spirit being like, oh, this isn't right, this is happening in this specific way, and is getting annoyed, and just wants them to leave. I also like one of the scenes where it's like, we're here, deal with it. It's like a big moment, like, we're here, deal with it. It's like, oh, it's so fun. It's so interesting. But the one thing I absolutely love, the reason why I think this whole section will probably leave until 9 minutes, even though we're not even past 5. Because you deal with his document, and it's like, instead of like, oh, here's the actual document, give it to the person in the past. It's like, one, the history will change, and it's one of those things where it's like really interesting, like, yeah, we have this document to prove this. We could easily give it to the past. I would like to point out he could clearly say probably forge, or whatever. I think they do talk about that. And I do like that idea. But you take it to the future, you show the parents about it, and show them the sort of like, oh yeah, this is sort of the thing that happened, that sort of like created this. Sort of like document. Anyway, weird. But you show the parents the document, and it's like, yeah, by the way, this house should have been ours. And like, the area around it, the farmland, was owned by you, but not the actual house. And I like that he's like, no. And then both sides are like, do you know what? Why don't we join in this together? Like, I was looking for a new place to open my, like, sort of, like, I don't know if it's baking or cooking. I think it's a bit of both. I was looking for a new place to do this. You wanted to open a new hotel. Why don't we work with this together? And I love this. Because besides opening up with them, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, they go to the future, which is insane, which also shows another side of it, which has the one thing I like is in the past they swapped because they look identical, you can't really tell. But at a certain point, which I think is really interesting, is you'd have her younger brother, who in the future grows up and does this thing with engineering and builds the time machine. You have him sort of looking after the girl who disappeared in the first one, and he asks questions, and I love at a certain point being like, he tries to hide it, and was like, well, I used your machine. This is how I got here. I shouldn't be in this time period because I shouldn't be born. And I just like, and she doesn't say it like that, but I just love that, like, trying to say it without sounding insane. And I like it. And so much. I think some of the stuff would have been explained in season 4. Because you have this more older woman show up from time to time. In, I think, season 2 and season 1 and season 3. Which I think was meant to be an older version of the girl. Which I find really interesting. But overall, I like it. It's building up to something that happens later in the last episode. Which I like. It's like, something odd is going on. And I absolutely think this is interesting, and I'm curious where they're going to go with this. Well, I was curious where they're going to go with this, and I am annoyed where they would have gone with this in season 4, because they introduced a couple of things. I feel like they might have done one more season, but they did just do a and I'm not going to say what, because that's not relevant to this, and it's not to do with season 2. But I love the other hook that they have, which his father finds the bunker, and it's dun, 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 but she's around the corner. His friend, when he was younger, is around the corner, and still like that age when they were younger, and it's like, what are they going to do? What? And I like it. And because this is over, this will be like another thing that I release. Obviously not on TikTok, so it won't be on like one of my counts. I'll just merge the 30 minutes anyway. Because why not? Why not? Da, 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 da. Anyway, I'm most likely to do it on this one or that one. I don't know. Most likely probably on that one. But I do think this is really interesting, and I absolutely would recommend. Wait. So yeah, I do like this. I am slightly annoyed about season 4, but we can't do anything about it. But it was a good watch, and I would recommend it with amazing characters, amazing dramas, even though they lie a lot and there's a lot of miscommunication, which is a bit annoying. But yeah, it is still fun, but a bit dramatic. So So yeah, I hope you enjoyed. Like, and good night.